All right, okay.
Hey, hello
Hi
everyone.
everyone. Okay, I've officially started the Investors Foundation Mastery class. This will be a big level up for you. Okay, if you are fresh from OMI. Okay, so if you have not attended this Foundation Mastery class before, can you type new? Can you just type new into the chat? Okay, I'm aware that some of the admin stuff are happening concurrently as well. Okay, so as far as possible, do focus on us as we try to deliver this content. Okay, so all of you here who are new, you are really in for a big, huge level up. Really, okay, because you are going, okay, to go deep, okay, into the world of fundamental analysis and financial statements. All right, and after today, and after these 2 days, you will make investment decisions based on facts and statistics and not based on hearsay. And that is extremely important if you want to grow as an investor. Okay. So I am aware that some of you need to arrange for lunch and all these kind of things. Okay. So this is going to be the schedule for the next 2 days. All right. Okay. So our first break today will be at 10 a.m. Okay. We will start off with a portfolio session. Okay. Then we will have a break. Okay, then after that, Joe will take us through, bring us into the world of FA.
Yeah, the world famous fried snake. Okay, not world famous lah, but you all know it. All of us know it in OMM,
Okay,
right?
anyway, it's quite funny because I did have mentees going online to search for fried snake. Actually, you cannot find it anywhere else, okay? It's only in OMM created by Joe. Later on, y'all can ask him why he named it fried snake. I still do not know why he named it fried snake, but it's a very, for those of you who have used it, you will know how powerful it is. Okay, using this checklist, it will help you to build a conviction on the companies based on real facts and figures, and it will help you to pick the best champions out of all the companies in the sector or the industry. Okay, and then we will go for lunch at 12 p.m. and then we will actually then Joe will bring us through some valuation methods.
Yep.
Okay, and then at 2:30, right, Joe?
Yep, 2:30.
Joe, you're out of the camera. Okay, and then at 2:30 we are going to have something very special.
Yep. So we have actually brought on a few people to actually share some bonus stock analysis. All right. So we will be putting this at the last of the session, so it will be more of a relaxed. It will be slightly more relaxed, and yet we really want everyone to receive something very tangible from this.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, and so the entire day one is just to make sure, okay, that you have very strong companies in your watch list because this is very important. Okay, after that, when we have that in day two, only in day two, then we will use TA and options. Okay, then we'll go into TA and options. Okay, to help you to decide, okay, which are the strategies to use, what are your entry prices, and what are your exit plans. Okay, so remember that your base, your foundation is pretty much FA lah. Okay, like how Joe is the pillar of my life. Okay, so FA must be the base. Okay, then you complement it with TA and options. Okay, without proper FA, without proper convictions, whatever TA, whatever options you use is going to be useless. All right. Okay, so let's get started then. Okay, so okay, I'll let Joe take a break for a while. Okay, so we'll begin with the portfolio session. All right, and I want all of you to also keep this in mind that our goal for you is really to build you up to be a millionaire investor. And there are 3 M's that we have to take note of. So throughout the entire foundation course, we'll be talking not just about the methods, okay? We will also be talking about money management, which is your portfolio, and also your mindset, the kind of mindset that you need to have if you want to be a millionaire investor. All right. So right now, maybe as we begin this entire foundation course, okay, I would like to give yourself a score, a 3M score. Okay, so assuming that methods, okay, the full score is 10, money management, the full score is 10, and assuming that for mindset, full score is 10. All right, I would like you to just give yourself, okay, a score, okay, in terms of how far you think you have mastered your methods, okay, how far you think you have mastered your money management, and how far you think you have mastered your mindset. Add them all up and then give me a score in the chat. Okay, for those of you who were with us during the group coaching call a few days ago, I think it was just on Tuesday of this week. Okay, you would have seen Gordon consistently scoring himself, okay, and consistently evaluating, hey, what is it that he actually needs to get his marks up. All right, so please be very honest with yourself, okay, because this is something that only you know and only you can take action to improve. All right, okay. All right, we have some responses. Okay, so take your time to do that. You can use your notebook and your pen to actually just quickly add up. Okay, quickly evaluate yourself, and then and then from there we'll take off. Okay, Okay, great. All right. I really like how all of you how many of you are very honest with yourself. Okay. Many of you have acknowledged that you have not even meet the passing mark. Okay, that's very, very good. And I want this is something that is very important for us as investors, to really be very honest with ourselves as to where we are at, and to be very honest with ourselves, right? What is it that we need to move forward? Okay, and this is really what mentorship is about as well. Okay, so if I mean, as you can see, all of us are not there yet. We are not at level 30 yet, and this is why having that personal mentor, that is why the coaching calls are very important. Okay, so do be very conscious about what is it that you need for improvement, and bring that up during the coaching call. Okay, make sure that you keep yourself accountable to your mentors during the coaching calls. All right. Okay, great. Good, good. Okay, some of you are unsure. That's okay. But at least you give yourself a certain gauge as to where you're at now. That's great. Okay, good. All right. That's very good. Okay, so I want you to keep this score somewhere. Okay, and just make sure you are always constantly evaluating yourself, reflecting. Okay, on what is it that you need to bring up your method mark, your money management, and your mindset. All right. Okay, so most of us, we would actually be very drawn to the methods. Okay, and this is why things like trade signals, okay, things like stock ideas, things like portfolio trackers. This is the reason why all of these, okay, all these are very attractive. Okay, and this is the reason why people also tend to sell this kind of products. But what many people out there do not know is that actually what is extremely important is also the money management, and everybody's portfolio has to be customized to themselves. Okay, so this is the reason why we want to take the morning, okay, to go through some portfolio management, especially for those people who have yet, okay, to book your coaching calls. All right, hey, can you, if you have not at all booked your coaching call, can you please type 0 in the chat box? 0 in the chat box. Okay, because I want to show you why is it very, very important, okay, that you start booking your coaching call, and how that can potentially give you, okay, the acceleration that you need for your portfolio, as well as in your 3Ms. Okay, very good. Okay, thanks everyone for being honest. Once again, I really, really appreciate it. Okay, so over here, I'm going to be showing you real portfolios with real results. Okay, but I will keep the mentees' identities confidential to protect them. Okay, so these are some common questions that we receive on money management or portfolio. Common questions are such as, should I invest in ETFs or stocks? And if I invest in ETFs or I invest in stocks, what is going to be the percentage allocation there? Okay. We also always receive questions on what is the percentage I should allocate for stocks and options. Okay. And what are some general strategies for big portfolio, small portfolio? How many positions should I have? And what is the expected growth of my portfolio? Okay, truth be told, while we can give very general responses, okay, but there is no one portfolio that is the same. And I will show you later on, and you will see for yourself later on why no two portfolios can be the same. Okay. So when building up your portfolio, one of the common languages that we have been using for OMM is this DISR or DR. Okay, so for the benefit of those of you who are new, we are just going to take some time to go through what this means. And when you come in for your coaching call, very likely your mentors are also going to take you through your portfolios based on this DISR framework. Okay, so very quickly, for all of the stocks that we have in our portfolio can be categorized into these 4 categories. Okay, the first, okay, what we have here is the left quadrant. Okay, the left quadrant, if you can see on the x-axis, these are stocks that does not require much activeness for us as an investor. Okay, why? Because for stabilizer and incremental stocks, these are companies that have already established for themselves a certain financial status in the market, okay, or in the US economy, or in whatever country that they are listed on. Okay, so S and I companies, stabilizers and incrementals, we invest in them based on proven track records. Okay, and because these companies have proven track records, okay, it will take a few years, okay, for them to even come down to 0. And this is the reason why, this is the benefit of investing in stabilizers and incrementals. This is also the reason why you can afford to be a little bit more passive. You can afford to only look back at these companies on a quarterly basis. Okay, so what we have here are stabilizers. Okay, so stabilizers, they tend to be low risk. Why? Because these companies have a proven track record. They are already the giants of their field. Okay, and but what you're looking at also is low growth, because these companies tend to already be in the mature stage. Okay, as a benchmark, okay, XLP is the consumer defensive or consumer staples industry as a whole. Okay, so what are consumer defensive or consumer staples? These are businesses whose products and services are evergreen. Okay, and no matter what, no matter how the economy changes, people will always require their products and services. All right. So let's have an interactive session as much as possible. Can you just type in for me some companies which you tend to use their products and services every day, and no matter what your season is, you tend to keep using these products and services. Can you just type it in? Okay. Winky says Coke. Okay. Kurtzman, Google. All right. Microsoft, Visa. Great. Okay. PG. Okay. All right. So these are products and services that you use every day. Okay, so Walmart. Okay, so grocery stores. Okay, no matter what you use grocery stores. Okay, Intel. No matter what you use semiconductors. Okay, so so these are some sectors. Okay, or some industries that whose products and services are evergreen. And what you want to do here. Okay, so what Joe will bring you through later on is using Fried Snake. You want to be able to pick up the champions from these sectors or these industries. Like for example, Puwana, okay, you have identified Intel or the semiconductor industry as an industry whose products and services are evergreen. We need it, okay, for our hardware. We need it for cloud. Okay, but the question is Intel the champion? Okay, because no matter what you do in your portfolio, you want to invest in the biggest fish in the pond, whatever the pond is. Okay, right? Because you do not want to be cannibalizing your own portfolio. If you want to invest, you want to invest in the champion. Okay. So, okay, Puwana, based on your research, you said not currently, but later on during Fried Snake, okay, let's do the whole detailed process as to how we can elicit champions. Okay. So another like Zhi, okay, mentioned Walmart, right? So for grocery stores as an industry, yes, it is a stabilizer. It is something that we use every day. No matter what, we will need supermarkets, we need grocery stores. The question again goes back to, is Walmart the champion, okay, of that sector, of that industry? Okay, so later on, we'll be using this term called power stock. Okay, so a power stock is the champion in the sector or the industry. And what we want to get you, all of you, to think about for your portfolio is to invest in power stocks, okay, and not just any other stock that's out there in the market. And power stocks are the ones that will give you the superior returns. Okay, so when we put all of these sectors and industries into one basket, that is what we call the consumer defensive or consumer staples. And this is represented by the entire exchange traded fund called XLP. And this has been establishing a growth rate of 6% per year. Okay, and of course, okay, the top 500 companies, okay, the top 500 products and services that people in America use is being represented in this basket called SPY. Okay, that consists of the S&P 500, and they grow at a rate of 12% every year. Okay, so as an investor, if your entire portfolio is filled with stabilizers, okay, and if you want to take a very passive approach, you are looking at a growth rate of 6 to 12% per year, which already, okay, is better than any other investment instruments out there, right? Don't you agree? Okay, so this is for stabilizers. Okay, and for out of these stabilizers, some of them, okay, actually have the potential, even though they are already quite large, okay, they still have the potential of gaining new consumers, gaining new market share, simply because of the increased value and uptake of their products and services. Okay, so can some of you just name me some companies, okay, that you believe, okay, even though they are already quite large and even though they are already established champions of their field, but you are amazed, okay, by their innovation. You're amazed by how they continually push out products and services, and you still continually spend your money on them. All right, okay, so Vera, okay, Vera says Apple. Okay, so this was Joe's Valentine's Day present to me. Can you all see what it is? Okay, so I never thought that I would buy more Apple products. Okay, but they continue to surprise me time and again. Okay, Joe is coming in. He wants to brag about his.
It's very expensive, leh. I hate Apple.
It's very expensive, but we still buy it. Okay, because I still cannot find another product, right, that can give the same predictable. I don't know, what do I call this? I cannot find another product that can give me the security, okay, and predictability that Apple can. Okay, so regardless of whether is it my iPad or my iPhone or my computers, I still go back to Apple. Okay, by the way, Joe's birthday is coming soon. I still haven't got any ideas as to what presents to give him. So guys, can if you have any ideas, just let me know. Okay, so yeah, okay, so Apple is one of them, right? Even though they're quite large, I still find myself buying their products and services, right? Alex says stickiness. Okay, so these are companies that have established a strong stickiness in the consumers, okay, because of certain consistency in the kind of service or products they can deliver. Okay, right. Joseph is an Android fan, right? Okay, so Android, as you know, can be represented by multiple businesses. Okay, there is no one. I don't think there's one business that owns the entire Android. I don't think so, lah. Okay, so Apple is one unique one because Apple is a business in itself. Okay, so you have named some of others, like for example Microsoft as well. Okay, regardless of what happens, I still find myself going back to Microsoft products. Okay, and recently they just released their earnings and it was fantastic. Okay. Christine talked about Facebook. Okay, so even till now, OMM, we are being hosted on Facebook platform, and 5 years later, Facebook is still the giant. Okay, yep, and Adobe. Okay, Nvidia has quite a lot of competitors. I'm not sure whether they are considered the giants, but later on, okay, Winky, maybe you can, after you have learned the fried snake, you can do an analysis on Nvidia together with all your competitors, and you can see whether they are the champion, indeed the champions. Okay, and we have Visa, who is currently up top right now for the financial sector. Whether that will continue, we do not know. Okay, and Amazon, still the king of e-commerce. Okay, so all of these companies are considered incremental companies. Okay, and all of them can be represented in this basket called SPYG. Okay, so SPYG is actually taken from the S&P 500. Okay, but out of the S&P 500, they take up all the growth stocks. Okay, like for example Amazon. Okay, they even have things like Tesla. All right. Okay, Baba. Okay, so later on we will go to disruptors. Okay, later on. Okay, and then we also have things like Microsoft, Facebook, all of these represented in the SPYG. And what is very attractive about it also is that it has achieved very consistently a 15 to 20% year-on-year growth. By the way, all of these growth rates, right, I have discounted the 2020 growth because 2020 has been a very abnormal year and I do not want to use it as a benchmark. Okay, so after discounting the growth for 2020, SPYG has been growing at 15 to 20% every year. Once again, this is much better than any other investment instruments out there. Okay, so even with taking a very passive approach, okay, using fried snake, we identify the champions. We are able to get a really superior returns to other financial instruments out there. Okay, all right. So moving on to the right side. Okay, right side would be disruptors and the disruptors. Okay, which can be divided into disruptors and revolutionary companies. Now, these companies tend to require more activeness on the investor's part. Okay, the reason is because they are still establishing their footholds with innovations. Most of them are not profit positive yet. Okay, and recently there has been a lot of hype on what we call DR stocks, disruptor revolutionary stocks. Okay, and if you were there for the group coaching call on Tuesday, we actually showed all of you a graph of how the valuation of all of these DR stocks have gone way off the charts. Okay, and people are buying in based on hype. Okay, so even when you invest in DR stocks, there are still some essential questions you need to ask yourself. Number one, you need to ask yourself, okay, is the valuation sensible for you to enter? Okay, please do not enter based on hype, because if you had entered based on hype, okay, you would have seen what happened to GameStop. But that is not funnier for the people who are going to be losing 5, 6, 7 figures because of all of this hype investing. Okay, so at the end of it, we need to be grounded in certain principles. We need to make sure that whatever companies we're investing in, they have the potential to be the champion of their industry, of their sector. Okay, so if it's a disruptive sector, make sure they are the champion when you invest. Okay, and if you want to look at a certain basket that contains the disruptor, we can use the ARK ETF as our benchmark. You can see that for disruptors, because they are still in the innovation stage, yes, they have the potential to threaten and replace existing industries, but there's also a possibility that their innovations do not replace the existing industries as well. Okay, so this is the reason why we have placed disruptors as a mid to high risk, but potentially high growth. Okay, and you can see this from the journey of ARK. Okay, it has moved from 0% growth for quite some time. And then after that, when some of these companies actually started to replace or show signs of being able to replace existing industries, they actually grew by 30%. And then I started to grow by 100%. And last year, 2020, which was the hype year, oh my goodness, it really went up to 1000+%. Okay, by the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, hey, is this hype or is this a reasonable growth? in that particular sector or industry. Okay, is there someone calling? You have to answer this. Okay, right. Okay, then we also have revolutionary stocks. Okay, revolutionary stocks are those businesses that create a totally new market previously never had before. Okay, so same thing. When businesses create a totally new market, you do not know how the consumers respond to it. Okay, so one example of a completely new market was Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin, when they were first introduced, again, it was actually zero growth as well. It went up, went down. Nobody knew how to take Bitcoin. But after that, when consumers started to actually buy into the idea, you can see that the take-up rate become very quick. And right now, it's already at 1,000% return. Okay, again, all of these stocks, okay, regardless of the stocks in ARKK, okay, regardless of Tesla, for example, okay, or Bitcoin, for example, it requires a lot of active reading on the investor's part, because you need to constantly be kept up to date and constantly evaluate as to whether these innovations, right, is it really possible, okay, for them to actually have a possible market share. All right, so this is actually DISR in a nutshell. Okay, so for what you'll be learning for this entire foundation course, we'll be teaching you how to analyze the SI stocks, okay, because this one tends to be the foundation. Okay, if you want to analyze DR stocks, at the end of the foundation course, we will refer to some resources as to how you can evaluate them as well. Okay, so for now, if you have your notebook and pen taken out, okay, I would like you to also actively think about, okay, which are the quadrants that you will actively want to have in your portfolio. Again, this one goes back to your activeness. Okay, so for DR stocks, you really do have to keep up, okay, with the financials and the news of these companies on a daily basis. Okay, because without warning, you can have another disruptor stock that comes in, okay, and take over whatever disruptor stock you're investing in. So this one, you're looking at a daily kind of commitment. Okay, but for SI, okay, stabilizers and incrementals, you need a quarterly kind of commitment, because you need to always look back at their earnings report to see whether are they still at the top of the game. Okay, looking at market impact, okay, the impact that this will have on your portfolio. Stabilizers and revolution. Okay, stabilizers, because they tend to be of a slower growth rate. Okay, so the kind of impact they will have on your portfolio is relatively low compared to incrementals. Okay, now if you were to compare revolutionary and disruptors, revolutionary is like they're taking a blue moon kind of shot, once in a blue moon kind of shot. Okay, so when it happens, you will get quite a high growth. Okay, but many out of 10, maybe only one will be successful. So the kind of impact you will have on your portfolio is also pretty low. Okay, versus disruptors, because disruptors, they are replacing industries that are already existing. So like, for example, Amazon, when they first came up with the entire e-commerce concept, right? They were first a disruptor. After they have disrupted, okay, then they were shifted over to the incremental phase, right? So for example, Facebook, okay, when they first came up with the entire way of connectivity, they started off as a disruptor first as well. Okay, after that, then they replaced the entire connectivity sector and they became an incremental stock. Okay, so every incremental stock starts off as a disruptor in the first place. Okay, so right, so have your notebooks ready. Okay, just take down some notes as to which quadrants you think, okay, will actually be suitable for you as an investor based on the activeness and based on the kind of portfolio growth that you like to see. Okay, and I'll also be giving you some real ideas here as well. Joe, what's the
Yeah, maybe I chip in. Okay, King Boo is asking, is Baba a disruptor? Maybe I'll just ask for a poll from everyone here. Where do you think Baba fits? All right. So, but I must say, this is a guide that is not hard and fast rule. Doesn't mean that, oh, if you put Baba as a disruptor instead of a revolutionary, oh, your investment will not do well. Okay, no such thing. So it is really a guide for us to choose the areas of the portfolio we want to focus on and to allocate. All right. So know that this is a guide. It is not the gospel truth. It is not hard and fast thing. So even if you think Baba, okay, the key thing here is, later I will share a lot more. Okay, finding great companies. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But by the way, before Joe goes, because you asked them a question, so you need to answer, right? Okay. So okay, so
Li Chin says it's I.
Okay, but I also want to caution everybody here that don't go based on your feelings. Okay, so Joe used the keyword here is think. Okay, so you must make sure. Okay, if let's say you say Baba is an S, for example, S. If you think it's an S, okay.
Stabilizer, not ASS.
Then you have to ask yourself, okay, okay, is it true that Baba has products and services that are evergreen? You have to ask yourself this, right? Okay, or let's say if you put it as a disruptor, then you have to ask yourself, okay, does Baba have innovations that can potentially replace existing industry, and if they can, what is this existing industry that they are able to replace? Okay, so go back to the facts, go back to rational, go back to reason. Okay, or if you say, okay, Baba is incremental, then you must ask yourself, okay, what is it that Baba has in its revenue model or its business model, okay, that is able to allow them to continue to gain market share? What are these products and services that still can continue to gain traction, right? Okay, so Puwana, okay, Puwana is very specific, right? I, but with and can be a D because it can potentially disrupt the financial sector. And I like that kind of response, okay, because it's not based on, okay, the first thing that comes to my mind, I just throw it out there. Okay, importantly, as investors, you must have clarity of thinking. You must be able to back up your thesis with proper reasons and logic. Okay, so okay, so right, let's see. Okay, so disruptor and incremental says Wei Yang. Okay, so again, once again, remember you need to back it up with facts. Right, good. Okay, so okay, right. Okay, so I think mostly I and D. So what are your thoughts, Joe?
I would say is mostly an I. Okay. Yes, Puwana, you raised a very, very good thing about and. But for me, because I feel that it owns only 33% of and this 33%, right? I don't know how much of it forms up the entire revenue. All right. So I will still put it as a mostly an I. But of course, they are always innovating. They're always trying to explore different things. So maybe even the I companies can turn into a disruptor.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Like for example, Microsoft, right? Microsoft, when they went into cloud, the cloud component actually was a disruptor. And if you were to look at the earnings report that was released by Microsoft, okay, their intelligent cloud services actually experienced a 30% explosion in their revenue. Okay, so what we want to invest, right? Actually, this is the best win-win. If you can find a giant who is already incremental, but they have an innovation that allows them to also have a disruptor element to them. So if you ask me, actually, Microsoft, I will put them as ID also, right? Okay, so that, again, how do I know this? I went back to the financial reports. Okay, I backed it up by facts. I backed it up by what I understand of their revenue. Okay, so I hope that this inspires you, okay, to go further into the financial statements, okay, because it's really the only way for you to achieve consistent results as an investor. Okay, right. Okay, so okay, let's not go into a discussion on N, okay, because it's very specific already. You can go and research on it during your break or your lunch. Okay, great. Okay, so shall we move on with portfolio?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's come back here. Now I'm going to show you some portfolio ideas, okay, that you can consider as you get started. Okay, so over our course of coaching, we have actually seen a few different portfolio models. Okay, so can y'all type into the group? This is the very first one, passive growth portfolio. Can y'all type this into the group? Passive growth portfolio. Okay, now there is actually a rule of thumb, okay, that for every 1% growth that 1% growth that we would like to see, right? Okay, we have to be ready to take a 0.5% volatility in our portfolio. Okay, so who is the passive growth portfolio for? Okay, these are for investors who do not want to undergo so much volatility in their portfolio, right? Do not want to undergo so much volatility. And also, these are for very busy working individuals also, okay, who actually cannot afford to be so active, okay, to look at the news every day, to go and keep updated with the financials every day, and all they can, and for this, SI portfolio, okay, they just need to actually look at the quarterly results, okay, make sure that they're always invested in the power stocks, okay, the champions, okay, and of course, for greater growth, what they usually allocate would be a higher allocation to incrementals, okay, and a lower allocation to stabilizers. So usually we're looking at 80-20%, okay, so that we can push up the portfolio growth, okay, at the same time, also realistic in terms of the time commitment that is required. Okay, so for passive growth portfolio, if this actually is your kind of profile, okay, you're looking at a SI kind of allocation. And there's nothing wrong with that. I will show you that all portfolios, okay, can be very profitable. Okay, so let me show you some real examples. Okay, so this was one of the mentees, okay, who actually decided that, she belongs to the passive growth portfolio group. Okay, she doesn't want to take so much volatility in her portfolio, and at the same time, she doesn't also want to be so active also in looking at the news, because it actually screws up her psychology. She admits that. Okay, so what you can see is that her portfolio is made up of many ETFs. Okay, so you can see J&J is the only company that she has classified under stabilizer. Okay, she also has a healthcare ETF. which we may classify as a stabilizer for now. Okay. At the same time, you can see that her other ETF choices actually belongs to the incrementals, right? So you can see she has iPay, mobile payments, which is an incremental industry right now. She has SPYG, which is a basket filled with growth stocks. Okay, she has the FinX ETF, and she has IXN, which is a global tech ETF. Okay, so by doing this, you can see it's mainly a stock ETF kind of play as well. And the only options that this mentee does is BOSS, and she does it on SPYG. Okay, because SPYG is 5,500. So for her portfolio size of 8,700, okay, she was able to actually do BOSS on SPYG. Okay, so this is one possibility that you can consider, and you can see that in 3 months, just with proper portfolio planning, okay, she has been up 9% in 3 months, and I think this is pretty good results. 9% in 3 months, right? Because if this will be extra, maybe if we project for the entire year, 9 times 4, she could be up 36% in the entire year, and I think that's pretty good also, right? For the kind of time that she's putting into this portfolio. Okay, so this is one. Second one belongs to someone who actually use options more actively. So you can see that this person also has a SI kind of portfolio, but you can see dramatically different. You can see a 46% up in returns in 7 months. Okay, so what you see in his portfolio, okay, CRM, incremental companies, Cisco, stabilizer, Facebook, okay, incremental, Lockheed Martin, okay, stabilizer. Okay, Lufax. Until now, I have not researched the Lufax lah. Okay, but I think based on what he told me is it belongs to one of the SI company. Okay, okay, Net. Okay, Net. We actually went into an argument here as to whether cloud should be incremental or disruptor lah. So maybe it can be considered a disruptor or incremental. Okay, so regardless lah, you can see that most of his holdings are S&I companies. Okay, but purely because he did strategy X. Okay, and also coupled with buying of stocks, you can see his returns is much higher. Okay, so there's really nothing wrong with going with an SI company, you know. So and I don't want you to be stuck with the thinking that, oh, if I go with SI companies, my returns are going to be very slow. Okay, because if you ask me, 46% up in 7 months, I think that's pretty good returns, right? So I think it all goes back to selecting the right companies, okay, and also selecting the companies that are suitable for your growth kind of objectives, and also your activeness kind of objectives. Okay, so fantastic to this mentee who actually achieved 46% up in 7 months, right? Okay, so that's the passive growth portfolio. And you also can see through this the power of options, right? So if we were to just invest in just the stocks itself, you can see, okay, it would maybe just give us a 9% in 3 months, right? But if just by optimizing option strategies, again, it need not be fanciful strategies. Strategy X is taught in OMI. All it requires is optimization and mastery. Once you mastered this on a very good stock, you can see it can give you very good returns even on stabilizing and incremental companies, right? Okay, so this is the passive growth portfolio. Okay, next, we also have mentees who actually go with the high growth portfolio. Okay, so can everybody type high growth portfolio? That is the second portfolio kind of structure that we'll be looking at. Okay, so for this kind of mentees, they do not mind spending a little bit more active time looking into disruptors. Okay, so because this will actually involve having to always monitor the competitors of their holdings. Okay, so like for example, okay, let's say for people holding on to NIO. Okay, NIO is one of the many EVs in China. There are many. Okay, you have Li, you have XPeng. So if you are to hold NIO, you also need to take the effort, right, to always constantly look into Li and XPeng to see what are the innovations they have there, to see whether is it possible for them to take over NIO as the main market leader. Okay. And in fact, NIO is not the biggest right now in China as well. Okay, so when you hold on to a disruptor stock like this, you need to always be constantly kept on your toes to make sure that you are invested in the best. Okay, so disruptor does require a certain level of activeness, and with disruptor also comes a certain level of volatility. So you must also be able to take the volatility. Okay, and also of course you can see that the portfolio allocation is also very careful, right? Disruptors take up 30%. Okay, so if let's say this person cannot afford to pick the best out of all the disruptors, it's okay. They have the 70% running for him. Okay, so incrementals is still 70% of the portfolio. So we are going with a 70-30 kind of allocation. And very, very clearly, these kind of mentees, they are growing for high growth, very high growth. Okay, so they want to take the wildcard element out. Okay, so they don't even have revolutionary companies. okay, and they don't even have stabilizers as well. Okay, so for high growth portfolio, let me just show you some real portfolios. Okay, so so I have one here to show you. Okay, so this was okay, this is a mentee, okay, who initially started off with many positions. Okay, so through the course of 2 coaching calls, okay, we actually helped him to identify what was his objective. So he identified that, okay, his objective is high growth. Okay, and with that, with the identification of the objective, okay, it actually helped him to actually trim down his portfolio position. So he removed all the revolutionary companies, he removed all the stabilizing companies, and you can see all of these companies are, you can see is very clear. But actually, one way to know whether an investor is very clear in their thinking is to look at their portfolio. When you look, once you look at the portfolio, you know whether the investor is very clear of their objectives or not. So you can see some of these that didn't really fulfill his objectives, he actually just removed them. So you can see AAL, he has already removed it, right? AZN removed, okay? You can see that Lemonade, he also removed because he also felt that it was overvalued already. Okay, NCLH, he also didn't know where this was moving, removed, okay? Net removed. Okay, so sometimes it is also having the conviction to say that, okay, you know what, I want to concentrate on just these 8 stocks. Because honestly, I can only have time for these 8 stocks. It takes a lot of courage to do that. Okay, and it's also an acknowledgement as to what you can handle as well. So I really admire and respect the mentee for this, to be able to really, you know, take away the FOMO out of the entire equation and just focus on the 8 stocks, okay, that he wants to focus on. And you can see the rewards of that, right? Just by focusing on these 8 stocks, okay, he's already up 120% in 4 months. You can see 25K to 54K. Okay, and if you think these results are amazing, okay, can you type wow? Okay, so this is really the benefits of having a proper portfolio plan. Okay, and this is the reason why, okay, I really want to push those of you who have not booked your coaching calls to go and do so, okay, because as you can see so far, all this while, no 2 portfolios are alike, right? And this is the reason is because every investor is different, right? We have a different knowledge base, we have a different experience, we have a different risk profile, we have a different growth objective, okay? And for him, he didn't just buy stocks, but he also did strategy X, and that really pushed up his returns as well, okay? So this is the power, okay, of having a very clear portfolio plan. Okay, I have another one, okay, but this one I actually need to clarify. This was actually 125K lah. So it's actually a 17% up, okay? But I also want to show this portfolio to show that every mentee is different, okay? So for this mentee, okay, you can see he also has only a few positions. Apple, Baba, Facebook, Google, Palantir, SPYG, Tesla, Visa. 8 positions also. Because honestly, when he were to look at all the champions in the sectors that he wanted to invest in, there was only one champion and he went with that. Okay, so for the entire EV, okay, he only went with the Tesla. I don't see Tesla, NIO, Lee, XPeng, everything in his portfolio. No, I only see one, and that to him is the champion based on his research. Okay, and you can see a very clear portfolio plan, very clearly allocated into incrementals and disruptors as well. Okay, you can see Palantir as a disruptor is in there. Okay, you can see Tesla as a disruptor is also in there. But at the same time, he also has the incrementals, and you can see it's 70-30% allocation. His strategy was to buy stocks. His strategy was also strategy X. That's why he actually achieved more exponential returns. And for him, because he has a larger portfolio, you can see he started from 125K. He actually could afford to enter in trenches. Okay, so many of you would know that Baba and Facebook recently, okay, there was a lot of panic sell recently, right? So instead of, you know, having just one bullet and entering in one shot, actually for Baba and Facebook, he entered in 3 trenches. Okay, so this is the benefit of having a larger portfolio. You need not have to spend all your bullets at one shot. Okay, so to me, a 17% up in 3 months is very awesome as well. And I know that as long as he keeps to his portfolio plan, okay, it's only a matter of time. With the recovery of Facebook and Baba, I know that the returns will be much more for this mentee as well. Okay, so that is for a high growth portfolio. Okay, now third one, this is for mentees who can afford to be very active in their research. Okay, so the third kind of portfolio I would like to go through with all of you would be the active growth portfolio. Can you all type in active growth portfolio? Active growth portfolio. Okay, so this active growth, why is it active growth? You can see that in addition to the disruptors, there's also an addition of revolutionary companies. And revolutionary companies is even more of an unknown compared to disruptors because they are creating a totally new market. Okay, so one example of a revolutionary company would be Beyond Meat. Okay, Beyond Meat for the longest time has been trying to create a new market for alternative proteins or plant proteins per se. But as you can see, their stock price has been moving up and down, and the consumers have yet to take to them lah. Okay, another one with Bitcoin, it took several years. Okay, it took some time for consumers to actually warm up to them. Okay, but if let's say the investors who really studied into it, believe in it, okay, and they stuck with it, okay, they would have achieved their high returns by now. But it does take a certain time commitment, okay, to build your conviction and your thesis around revolutionary stocks. So this is the active growth portfolio. Once again, the base is still incrementals, okay, because these are companies with proven track records, okay. Then with 30% allocation, okay, shared between disruptors and revolutionary, a smaller percentage to revolutionary. Okay, so okay, let me just show you. This is a real account. Okay, so for this mentee, went with IDR. Okay, this mentee, interestingly, look at the strategy. This mentee only did buying of stocks, didn't even do options. Okay. And this mentee spent all the time really just looking into the financials, looking to make sure that she was always invested in the best. Okay, so you can see she has revolutionary companies like this Space, okay, GPTC, Bitcoin actually, okay, yeah. So she has some of these, okay, and then she also has disruptors as well, okay. Like for example, she had let's see, okay, she had disruptors like Tesla. Okay, she also had fintech companies like SQ. Okay, so you can see. She also had cloud like Sky. Okay, it's a mix of ETFs as well, cloud ETF like Sky. Okay, so the reason why she didn't invest into a single cloud company was because she couldn't find a champion. And when she couldn't find a champion, she just decided to invest in the entire industry, which is the Sky. So this is one thing you can consider as well. If a sector is too competitive, but you still believe in them, what you can do is you can invest in the whole ETF. Okay, like for example, clean energy, right? Clean energy is a possible disruptor as well. But there is no clear winner in the entire basket of clean energy. So what she has done is she invested in the ETF. You can see iClean over there. Okay, so that's one idea as well. Okay, and then for the incrementals, because she already knows who are the champions, so she invested in them. So Apple, Adobe, okay, Salesforce for customer relations, okay, Google, okay, she also had Microsoft, okay, Nvidia, okay, so all of these, she actually did her proper research, and just in 1 year, based on stocks alone, she's already up 66%, and we were very, very proud, and we were very happy when we saw this, okay. And yep, so her next move would actually be to actually study more into options so that she can actually grow her portfolio even more, okay, now based on this very good portfolio plan. Okay, even for this, in the course of 1 year, you can see that she only had enough time to study 20 stocks. Okay, so even it doesn't mean that, okay, the longer I am in my investment journey, I add more and more positions, right? Okay, so you can see even after 1 year, it's only just 20 stocks. And she just concentrate her efforts on just studying these 20 stocks, okay? So this is for high growth portfolio. Okay, so at this point, maybe you can put in the group, right? Based on what I've shared so far, do you think that for yourself, do you think you're more suitable, okay, for the passive growth, active growth, or high growth? What do you think? Just again, be very realistic as to how active you can be. Okay, be also very realistic as to how much volatility you are willing to take, right? And I've already shown you, okay, regardless of passive growth, active growth, okay, or high growth, okay, regardless of what it is, you actually can get very good returns lah. Okay, I made a mistake here. This should be active growth portfolio. Okay, yeah. Okay, so okay, okay, I don't really know what is a mix lah, Jaytan. Okay, so I think be very, very clear. Okay, I think some when you plan your portfolio, it cannot be like a buffet kind of thing, like, oh, I want a bit of everything. Because if you want a bit of everything, it becomes something called the, let me show you, FOMO portfolio, which we have seen also. Okay, so a FOMO portfolio is when how do you know when somebody has a FOMO portfolio, right? Is when this person has a lot of positions, like 45, 50, 70 positions, because this person clearly do not know what to invest in, and then FOMO just enter into everything. Okay, so what we do not want you all to go into is, please do not go into FOMO portfolio. Okay, because FOMO portfolio really gets you nowhere. Okay, because there is no there's no active commitment on anything. Okay, so Gajanan, okay, Starters with low capital. Okay, so again, I can only give you a general response, but I will encourage you to book a coaching call to get this plan out personally for you. Generally, with low capital, I'm of the believer that to do Warren Buffett's rule number 1, never lose money. So if I never want to never lose money, what I will go with is the passive growth first. Passive growth first. Okay. Go with the 70 incremental 30% stabilizers because these companies already have a proven track record. Okay, again, but Gajanan, to go into details of that, okay, please go and book a coaching call if you do not have your portfolio planned out yet. Okay, so great. Okay, so some of you have already started to recognize what is it. Okay, what is it that you want? Okay, and for Winky, okay, great, active growth and then maybe future passive growth. Okay, so that is also good as well. Okay, so I will put up actually this set of slides onto your respective OMM tiered groups. Okay, so that you can actually have a sense before you go into the coaching call, have a sense of when you go inside a coaching call, okay, when you meet Joe or when you meet Pete, okay, or when you meet our new mentors Kang Yi, Ian, okay, or Ching Kok, you can like, okay, you know what, I want to grow with I want to go with active portfolio, okay, and I already have these stocks in mind, and then you can have a deeper discussion during the coaching call. Okay, so if you found this portfolio session useful, can you type portfolio? If you found it useful, can you type portfolio? Okay, yeah, all right, great. Okay, so key thing is never go into this FOMO portfolio, okay, because this one it clearly shows that you do not have a plan. Okay, go into portfolio, and with this, I also want you to take away this point that there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all portfolio. As you have seen, all of the mentees actually had different portfolio, different stocks. Some of them, their allocation of ETF and stocks, as you can see, was very different. Allocation for stocks and options very different. I the one with the 66% return didn't even do options, right? Okay. Small, big portfolio, I've shown you various portfolio sizes. Again, their objectives were different, their stocks were different as well. Okay, number of positions, as a general rule of thumb, don't go beyond 20, because to be very honest with you, for Joe and myself, even though we are full-time into this, we cannot research into more than 20 companies if we want to really go deep into them. Okay. Expected growth will again go back to your portfolio plan. Okay, depend on what is the strategy you use in terms of the stocks and options. Okay, so with this, I really want to encourage those people who have not had your portfolio plan out to go and take action. Okay, now there is no excuse to say that, hey, I got no coaching call slots. Okay, last time when it was just once upon a time when it was just Joe, okay, myself and Pete in the mentorship team, yes, we will understand if our coaching call slots are fully booked. Okay, but right now we do have new mentors coming in, like Ian, like Kang Yi, like Ching Kok. Okay, all of us, okay, we are equally professional in doing this. Okay, so do yourself a favor, if you have not had a coaching call done, if you have not had a portfolio plan done out for you, please go ahead, go and book a coaching call, okay, with any one of us, get your portfolio plan planned out. I think most importantly is to have clarity personally as an investor. Okay, so especially for those of you who have not done your coaching calls. Okay, great. Okay, so yes, Joseph, great. Okay, so I'm glad that you have taken action, okay, to do your coaching calls. Okay, so for those of you who have not, okay, I hope that this session has also inspired you to do so, and you have also seen the kind of returns that you can have when you have your portfolio plan planned out properly. Okay, all right. Okay, so with this, I have come to the end of the portfolio segment. Okay, and I do want to actually, before you go for the break, I do want to actually prepare you for the next session as well. Okay, so for the next session to come, we are actually going deep into how to identify the power stocks, okay, of each sector, of each industry. You can see that if you want to actually trim down your positions to just 20, or for some of them even 8, you must be able to identify the champions of the sector. Okay, so I go back, okay, to our role model, okay, Warren Buffett, okay, who says diversification may preserve wealth, but concentration is the one that builds wealth. Okay, so as you have seen in the various examples, those other mentees, okay, they have always had a very concentrated kind of portfolio, okay, of between 8 to 20 positions. Okay, and please do not mistake diversification. Okay, please do not mistake FOMO as diversification. Okay, having 45, 50 positions is not diversification, that's FOMO, right? And I want to show you also that this is from our own account. Okay, you can see that we use, okay, some time ago, I think this was when 1 year plus, 1.5 years ago. Okay, we actually researched into a disruptor called Meituan, right? And I think Joe did a 1 hour sharing of this, right? 1 hour, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and actually you can see one also must give it time to grow. So 1.5 years later on, okay, you can see it has already grown by 397%.
So some of you may be asking, hey, how come you only go 20 shares? So because very easy. Oh, okay.
Why?
I put it in, but somehow it's gone. But
what gone what?
Oh, there.
Okay.
Okay. So actually, why 20 shares? Because this ticker symbol is Meituan Dianping, is a Chinese company, no options. So I'm just thinking, wow, no options. A lot of you will know that, hey, one of my favorite strategies is to sell covered calls. So this one, there's no way I can do it. Do I want to put in so much money? And yet, I cannot get cash flow. So I decided, okay, why not I just do very little? So for these 20 shares, I only spent $180, less than $200. There is no way I can do a buy call with $180 to $200 and yet still let it grow. All right. So this is my strategy looking in the very, very long term. Okay. Since I see this as a potential 10 bagger, so maybe I will just park aside these $200, let it grow 10 times, then I'll take it out.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, do you think it's possible? Possible or not? Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, also this was because of our portfolio allocation as well. So remember, just now when we showed you the portfolio allocation, the disruptor, because it comes with very high risk, right? So we also when we allocate the disruptors, it must also be according to the portfolio allocation. Okay. So so this one is Meituan. Okay, and then of course our good old your favorite lah, your good old Facebook. Right.
Yeah, so this is I think a lot of you, okay, this is really for the new people, okay, even with a non-disruptor, okay, non-disruptor, incremental, we already have we've got it at 125, more than 100% return right now, and on top of that, because it's such a strong company, we can get 10 to 12% income, okay, through selling covered calls.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting this 10 to 12% without parking aside extra money, without selling a single share. All right?
Yep. Okay, and your third favorite?
I think a lot of you, okay, Baba, okay, again, it's another 5-figure. Maybe last night went down a little bit, all right, but we are getting another 15% on top of it again.
Yep.
All right?
Right, and actually, Joe, how many stocks do we have in our portfolio?
Almost 20.
20. So you can see almost 20. So even at our stage, right, we only have almost 20 stocks in our portfolio. Okay, that's how much we can manage. And this is the power of a concentrated portfolio where you pick just the best to pick in your portfolio. Okay, and so so again, it goes back to picking the best business. Okay, and making sure that you go into it when it's at a good price. And we will go through, Joe will bring you through all of that, okay, right after the break, okay, using the Fried Snake checklist. Okay, so if you have not gotten the Fried Snake checklist, okay, go and get it. Okay, it's actually in your respective Facebook groups, okay, Facebook groups, and then you can go and get it. These are stocks, so you are right. Okay, these are just capital gains based on stocks, right? And you can see how powerful it is. Okay, 5-figure capital gain in 1 year. I don't know lah. Is this very slow? I don't think so. Okay, so okay, let's go for a break. We will come back let's give them a 10-minute break. Just a short one will do. Okay, we'll come back at 10:05. Okay, and when you come back, okay, please make sure that you have your Fried Snake checklist. You need your Fried Snake. Okay, great. Okay, so let's go for a break, and we will come back at 10:05 a.m. Okay, let's go.